I had another video about this, but I'm going to ask you to do this again. I want you to dislike this post if, and only if, you yourself are an idiot. I'm not a sexist and I'm not a misogynist. Bernie Sanders would put more women into power than Elizabeth Warren. That isn't the issue here, dude. The issue here is age phobia from young women causing telomere attrition in their children when they're age phobic against men who are between the late 30s and early 50s. The problem is age phobia, leading to telomere attrition, causing children's DNA to be corrupted. Please wake the fuck up and stay on topic with this discussion. This is not about politics, this is about science. I'm more liberal than the Democrats. Age phobia. I don't even know where to go with this. Age phobia. The problem is age phobia causing telomere attrition, corrupting the DNA of children. Women between 18 and 24 would give their kids longer telomeres, thus greater health. Men between the late 30s and mid 50s would give their kids greater health. Men and women need to be paid the same. Men and women need to be treated as equals and fairly. 50-50 split between Congress. AOC should probably be president in 2024, I mean. Bernie Sanders will put more women into power than Elizabeth Warren. This is all good. Women in power is all good. But we need to address the age phobia. I'll be talking to my mom sometimes. We were kind of close anyway. We do kind of butt heads a lot. But the fact is, my mom will ask me things like, how are you doing? And I say, well, I really want a girlfriend. You know what she says to me? Every time? I don't think it's in the cards. She says it real bubbly and nice. Well, for some people, it's just not in the cards. I'm 40 years old. It's gotten to a point now where if anybody opens any kind of criticism of me, I start criticizing them. So if you're going to push darkness, you're going to get darkness in return. You're going to push light, you're going to get light in return. It's just what I've learned. It's not in the cards. You're a wrinkly old hag and nobody's ever going to love you and you're going to die sad and lonely. Try again. I want a girlfriend. Ah, see? Negativity. Blocked. So upvote or downvote this video. If you really mean upvote. Hit either the thumbs up or the thumbs down if you're a hot woman between the ages of 18 and 24 and want to have sex with me. Hit the thumbs down button if you're an idiot. Hate me for all I care. It won't make a damn bit of difference. And you and I both know this. Do you know why I dated Gen X women and baby boomer women? Because they let me. Do you know why I never dated millennials or zoomers? Because they didn't let me. Who's the problem? Slang, huh? Well, sorry, I don't speak moron. How's it working out for you, haters? You can't motivate people by traumatizing them. The reason there's so much bullying over the internet now is because it's pretty much squashed offline. As soon as there's any kind of like bullying at a school or anything, like there's all these conferences and teachers and students and people marching in the streets. You can't just bully people offline without expecting to get counter-bullied
these days. It just doesn't happen. So if you try to like motivate people by bullying them, the first people they're gonna come after is you for bullying them. And it's never gonna work out to your benefit to traumatize and talk shit and cancel culture people in order to motivate them, because they're just gonna hate you for it. And if they find out who you are, like that idiot group that I hung out with in Spokane, you know who you are. You were trolling me, and I found out within a day, yeah, you're not that smart. So people pretty much see that kind of stuff and they're like, fuck you to these people. So it's not going to work out to your benefit to bully people. And if they find out who you are, they're going to bully you. And you can't just motivate people with false hope either. You can't just say things like, today's going to be a great day for you. Well, it might be, but what you need is called evidence. It's almost 2020. People have computers in their pockets. If you can't prove your claims to people, no one is going to believe you.
Baby boomers only really seem to date baby boomers. Generation X only really seems to date Generation X. Millennials only really seem to date millennials. And Generation Z only really seems to date Generation Z. I don't know what to call that if not bigotry. Your preferences make you sound like a dick. I could sit here all day and rail on about my faults. A little bit of a touchiness when it comes to people trying to provoke me. Maybe you don't like beards, even though beards are super popular in 2019. Maybe you don't like dudes that are older, even though dudes that are older are getting more recognition these days. Maybe you don't like poor dudes that are hot-headed, even though there are more poor dudes that are hot-headed, and hot-headed people in general getting girlfriends that are poor these days. You may not like that I have skinny arms, even though there's a lot of chubby guys with skinny arms out there getting girlfriends and getting laid and getting married. You may not like people who keep to themselves unless they're provoked, even though there's a lot of people out there who keep to themselves and get provoked. Or maybe you just don't like me. Well, that's fine. That saves me a lot of time. If you don't like me, I don't like you either. You kind of cringe. It doesn't really matter to me how much praise you're giving me. If you're not pressing that like button after my videos, the thumbs up, you're a liar. So, good night, liars. I'm not going to just let you run your mouth in the comments. So I turned the comments off, because what the comments showed me is that the only people willing to comment are people who spit out false information that's no longer true about me or the world. Like the whole argument of like, well, the Democrats started slavery. Yeah, the Democrats were the conservatives during the Civil War. People like that just run their mouths thinking that they're intelligent when they're just arrogant and they don't know anything about history or facts. People that just want to talk shit about me without constructive criticism. Because if you want to constructively criticize me, that's fine. And if I feel like I need it, I will ask for your advice. And if you're not polite, that's not constructive criticism. You're a hater. So there's no reason for me to leave on the comments, because every time I get comments, 99% of the time, they're either lies or rude. So, no, I'm not here to listen to your bullshit. It's funny how people want me to like get offline and go out more. Well, I do go out like an hour to 4 hours a day. But if you really want me to find a girlfriend, find me a girl between 18 and 24 that, one, complains about the oligarchy and complains about capitalism, that does not have to necessarily date a guy,
in her own economic class or above, because I've pretty much seen only hypocrites out there. And when I hear them talk and I see them around town, it's like they'll complain about capitalism and the oligarchy, but their boyfriend always has the same amount of money or more than them. So please. I'm not looking to date hostile people or violent people, so if you're one of these rude people, you and I are not happening anyway. And I'm so sick and tired of the age phobia. When men my age, being 39 to 55-ish, would give kids stronger DNA, and you being 18 to 24 would give kids stronger DNA. I have proof of this. Just hit me up on Instagram and I will show you the 7-page paper from the University of Washington on older men from 2019. If you're not going to listen and you're just going to argue with the science, I'm not here to listen to you. Accept it or don't talk to me. And do not send me a friend request if you have a boyfriend or a husband, especially if one of you in this relationship is Generation Z. If you are Generation Z or a young millennial and you have a boyfriend or a husband and you send me a friend request, I'm blocking you. I'm not here to tolerate this bullshit. I'm here to find a girlfriend and not listen to a bunch of haters run their mouths like I'm Ariel Winter. Just leave people alone and you'll have less of a headache in your life. Pick on the big, rich assholes out there. Leave people alone. You want to call me an incel? That's not true. I'm against violence. I'm against misogyny. The proper term for me is a bachelor. Watch your mouth. Wanting a diversified genome in your children is not fascism. Please. Fascism is where you would want, like, the mom to be white and the dad to be white, or at least the same color. You want them to be young and the same age. Yeah, I don't, because the science says that if the father is between the late 30s to early 50s, the kid will have stronger DNA, and the mom between 18 and 24 would also give that kid stronger DNA. I have proof of this. What I'm advocating for is not eugenics. Eugenics would be where their parents are both the same. You are an absolute moron if you think what I'm advocating is eugenics. I'm really tired of women complaining about capitalism when they're dating guys with more money than me. Look, I have an EBT card. If you don't mind me saying so, you're also coming off as hugely age-phobic in detriment to your children's DNA, being that my age, being between the ages of late 30s and mid 50s, will give your kids stronger DNA. I could show you on Instagram. Go to LucasWerner79 on Instagram and I will show you the papers and the studies that prove that due to my age being 40, I would give your kids stronger DNA. I only want to solve this conflict non-violently, but I will solve this conflict. I do not know how to deal with narrow-minded liberals and Republicans, because it just seems to me like narrow-minded liberals and Republicans are only there to gaslight and piss people off. Some people don't know what fascism is. Fascism is where you want everything the same. Same color skin people, same attitude type of people, same age group type of people. Don't run your mouth at me like you're not a fascist for wanting those things, and I'm a fascist for wanting diversity. Please shut your mouth. You sound like an idiot. There's not a lot of Generation X dudes marrying Generation Z women. That's a shame. Because the combination would create very healthy children. In fact, the healthiest children would be born to women between the ages of 18 and 24, and men between the ages of late 30s to mid 50s. Instagram, Lucas Warner 79.
Check out all my videos on this channel, The Word. Find me on Instagram, LucasWarner79. Find me on PayPal, paypal.me/LucasColbyWarner. I think if you consider yourself heavy or thin or just like a normal weight, that's all that matters. I mean, as long as you're a happy person and you're nice to people, that's all that really matters. I've dated heavier women and I've dated lighter women. All that is kind of superficial if you have a good personality. From what I've noticed, though, people that are way too heavy or way too skinny, or belong to some sort of urban subculture like punk or hip hop, and have to dress in that specific culture, whether it's goth, especially if they're young, in the 18 to 24-year-old range, there's usually an arrogance problem that encounters a lot of these people. It's not the majority of them, but it's the loudest section of them. The whole, snotty attitude, to me, is not my type. Snotty attitude is not my type. Looks and personality go a long way. I wouldn't say stop trying with me if you're heavy, because if you're nice to me, I'm going to be nice to you. And I would certainly look past that on the level of us being friends. But I'm not really out to meet 18 to 24-year-old women right now in order to make friends. I'm out to meet them. See, I'm a little chubby. I mean, if you're a little chubby, you might be a little chubby. I've weighed more, but, if you're a little chubby, you're a little chubby. That's just, it's how it goes. As long as you're a nice person with a good personality, you might have a chance with me. If you really like me, prove it. Put a video of you on YouTube telling me why you would go out with me. If you don't live in Spokane, or you're not a celebrity, or you're outside the 18 to 24-year-old range for a woman, just don't bother her. I wouldn't say that you're not a friend. I just wouldn't date you because you're not in the fertile range for a woman. That's the only reason. So, I mean, put a video of you on YouTube and tell me why I should date you. Maybe you weigh 300 pounds and are a very nice person, and that could win you a chance. Maybe you're punk rock and you don't look like a mess, and you're not a mean-spirited, violent, hostile person. Well, try, at least try. See all the videos on this channel, The Worm. The whole call-out culture thing is just a high school mentality anyway. It's you're gonna, and Obama had a speech on this recently, where he's it's you're gonna sit there and act pure when you act woke to point out somebody else's faults, you've never done anything wrong, or that there aren't people in this world that have done way, way, way worse shit that's actually illegal. but you're gonna just sit there and like watch TV because you think you're so special. Like these call-out culture types are either elitist snobs or they're just dumbasses. Like dudes like Walter Fate. I blocked both his accounts because he seems like a 12th grader. Kind of like, I'm gonna tell on you just because I disagree with you morally. Moralistic arguments are opinions, man. It doesn't really matter. Somebody had a moralistic argument about something that, for one, wasn't even illegal. Like, maybe they wanted to drive to Denver so they can legally buy some shrooms and smoke some shrooms. And I had something to do where I don't like shrooms or people that smoke shrooms. Who cares? I've met people that smoke meth. It's not like I'm trying to put them on blast to do that. I don't tell on them. I just say, if you smoke it around me, I'm going to ask that you not come around here. Because I will call the cops. I mean, if you do something illegal in my territory, like in my apartment, I'm going to call the police. If you do something illegal out in public, I don't really care. If it's hurting somebody, like if you're on the street corner and you're smoking something and talking about how you're smoking meth, I'm just going to walk past you. If you're not bothering me, I'm not going to bother you. If you're smoking in my apartment building and you're smoking pot in the building, which you're not supposed to do, you're supposed to go elsewhere or go outside in the alley or like anywhere else outside because it's still property, so you don't get in trouble for smoking in the alley. Do that, but at the same time, if I know you by name or know the apartment complex, and I know the apartment number, I'm not going to put you on blast, like Michael Thompson is over there in 211 smoking a bong every day. I don't care. If I know that person by name and I smell pot from some apartment, I'm not going to even mention that to anybody. It's against the rules, but it's not really hurting anybody. If it was like a noise complaint, well, that's another deal. People try to sleep and like maintain their calm. That's another deal. But I really don't care. If it's not my business, I'm not going to put it on blast. If it's not illegal, I'm not going to put it on blast, especially. And I haven't done anything illegal in quite some time, so it doesn't really matter. I haven't done anything illegal in 8 years. And the police already know about it. So, like, if somebody puts my business on blast, I just look at that like you're a 12th grader. Women usually don't date dorks. And if they do, the women themselves are dorks, and they're usually not very attractive dorks. So it doesn't matter to me, Your life is just going to get much worse. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to date me. I got these skinny arms. Thicker than a dick, though. Oh, did that offend you, you little sexual Puritan? I don't care! Greta Thunberg is correct. We could plant 1 trillion trees. Or, if you really want to solve climate change, we increase the intelligence and empathy of the human species. And the way you do that is you make it illegal to have sex if you're a male under the age of 40. And to have children past the age of 55. We also make it illegal for women past the age of 24 or under the age of 18 to have children. Or to have sex under 18. Well,
We enforce it like we do with laws against incest. If we see it, we call it out, and those people have to go to jail. What this will do will cause the telomeres of the human body to grow. By passing along longer telomeres to the white blood cells of the next generation, which will increase the intelligence and compassion of the human brain, as well as the physical fitness, appearance, and disease resistance of the rest of the body through the conference of longer telomeres. Instagram.
Confession time. When I was 18, I illegally smoked pot. And now 22 years later, I no longer illegally smoke pot because I live in Washington State. Now I just legally smoke pot. Going to college to meet women is a bad idea because if you're studying and working hard to be on the honor roll like I was doing, you're not going to have a lot of time to meet women. Going to bars only works if you have the money to go to bars. Other than that, there's no other options to meet women. I don't know. Send me $5 through PayPal. I'm wrestling with the idea of how to find the love that I need. Saying things to me that would get you kicked out of somebody's house. Somebody that wanted a polite society. Or things that won't help me because as soon as I see the rudeness, I'm just going to block you and delete your comment. Because I have no tolerance for hate, which is ideally what religious people ought to be. If it's coming from atheists, then we have a problem because you are unable to forgive, which makes you as bad as everything you hate. If you can't take account of that, then you're going to say something rude to me and I'm going to delete your comment. If you call me names, that's not where we begin, because it reminds me of my ex-girlfriends that were Christians, and I refuse to date people with a mean spirit. And to me, that's usually the religious. So I'm probably not going to get along well enough to start the relationship with a religious person at all, because they usually begin with hate. If you're an atheist and you say things to me like it's going to get better, I'm going to demand evidence. If you try to turn the tables on me and say that I need to prove myself to be a better person, again, you're going to get blocked and your comment is going to get deleted. That's not how we're playing this. I'm sick to death of this trashy sort of way of bullshit at each other and being sarcastic in order to get things to stop being the way you don't want them to be. I need to be able to speak true and straight and forthright in order to get what I want. Otherwise, it's going to create a problem. And that problem will be that I'll be in sort of a sarcastic mode. People like to make fun of slang terms by utilizing those slang terms and then mocking those slang terms. I just go ahead and get verbose about that stuff and talk about why I don't, instead of just mocking the slang terms and becoming part of that culture. Because eventually you start mocking the N-word. You start saying the N-word as a mock against the N-word. You're going to start becoming the people that say the N-word all the time. And the current slang, whatever that is. I have never wanted to, in my life, associate with morons. And I've met plenty of people that are my age or older that do not care and want to associate with morons. I consider that to be a low intelligence. I don't really care if you think that that makes me a nerd or a square. You need to grow up. Using slang, to me, is like saying that you want to be cool. And to me, that's lame. So trying to find a girlfriend by becoming the pop culture youth, like a lot of people my age try to do, I'd like to forego that and find somebody that does not utilize slang. I mean, every once in a while it's okay, but like when it's every day like that, it just feels like capitalism ripping my heart out because it's so unintelligent and disgusting. So if you're somebody that uses a lot of slang and throws a lot of hostility at me, you're not going to be my girlfriend. I don't care what you look like or what you offer me sexually or monetarily. I'm going to say you're basically my version of Satan anyway, so you're not going to date me. The more hostility you show me, the less I like you. There are plenty of friendships where toxic relationships do foster friendships, and I am not one of those people, and I feel like most people are not those people. If you enter into adult group society, whether you are poor or middle class, there are people like me in this world. I'm not advocating anything illegal, and I'm not lying about that. If you think that something is about you that I've said, then it's about you. If you don't think that it's about you, then it's not about you. I need what I need. All these women wanting me to be the platonic friend while they go have sex, we are not going to talk. You are destroying my friendship with you just by being selfish. I'm not saying that it's against friend zoning. What I'm saying is that if you were like a 20-year-old guy and you have a bunch of advice to me as a 40-year-old guy how to hook up with 21-year-old chicks or something like that, you're not going to be able to get through to me because you and I are on a different path. You were trying to date chicks that are your own age, and I'm trying to date chicks that are 20 years younger than me. So it's not going to work. You saying pithy things like get a credit card, get a job, get religion, improve your posture, cut your hair, stuff like that, the thou shalt not sort of stuff is not going to help me because I'm going to delete your comment and I'm going to block you. Because those things go against who I am as a person. So stop doing that. I'm not looking for things on how what I'm doing is wrong. I'm looking for suggestions of things that I can do in order to prove my chances with women between the ages of 18 and 24, being a 39-year-old atheist male in 2019 who is very, very left-wing and very, very, very much against violence, bigotry, and hatred. Not to mention gaslighting and a bunch of annoying hecklers that just don't Google their questions instead of harassing me or accuse me of things that I did that were not illegal. You bringing up the morality argument with me is not going to work on me. I'm just going to say I am not a religious person, and you and I have different forms of morality. What I think is immoral is locking up kids in cages, sex traffic that the government sponsors, Republicans in general, especially Trump Republicans, and Democrats are soft-core evil. I consider the whole fucking system fascist, and I don't really like it. I have views on politics that involve peace and love and understanding, and you as a person that does not understand that, you trying to break my stride is not going to make me be your friend. And if I have to explain that to you, you are too stupid for me to be your friend. You coming at me with hostility and expressing violence towards anyone makes me not want to even associate with you whatsoever. It does not matter if I have expressed violence or hostility in my past. This is the present moment, not the past. We should not live in the past and repeat our mistakes. Knowing that, if I want what I want, you're just going to have to accept it. There's nothing illegal about it. If it's immoral, that's your opinion. And the only thing that I've discovered that works is to talk about telomerase and telomeres. The fact that I'm Generation X means that the telomeres in my sperm, whether you think it's gross or not, if you think it's gross and disgusting, if you think discussing sex in a intellectual academic context is gross and disgusting, say that so I can delete your comment and block you. I'm an adult. I would rather have adult conversations. I want to talk about adults in adult context. People who are immature and cannot talk about sex without labeling it as disgusting or perverted are not what I would call anything other than childish. In a college setting, I can talk about this stuff. I'm not going to college right now because the women are too busy studying and I'm too busy trying to get good grades. I figure if I take a year off, I might be able to interact with the mainstream a little bit somehow. You saying negative, hostile things to me, fine. Say them in the comments. I would be more than happy to look at that, see a few words of that, delete your comment, and before that, block you and just get rid of it. Because to know that you're out there expressing vile, perverted things about me that are not true, I want to know that so that I can block you and get you out of my life. You and the other types that are like that, the haters, have no purpose in this discussion because you're too immature. I don't care if you're 18 years old or 90 years old. If you can't listen to what I have to say, you are a child to me. It doesn't matter your social status or your money. If you are somebody that is going to bring up morality arguments when something is not immoral, then you are not what I would call intelligent. 18 to 24-year-old women are more fertile. There is less chance of a child killing the mother in childbirth if the mother is between the ages of 18 and 24, and if the mother is between the ages of 18 and 24, then the child is going to be healthier and have a twice as much chance as any other normal child to live and be healthy for 100 years or more. This is a scientific fact. Do your own homework. Google all this. You putting stuff to sort of troll and distract me from the point of keeping it where it is, trying to argue with me, go argue with a professor. You're like Ben Shapiro. If you're Ben Shapiro and you're there trying to argue with the students, you don't know what you're talking about because you are not arguing with the professors and the professionals. I am just a lay person that understands some science. If you got to be there and you have to be mean-spirited towards me, you are too chicken shit to debate with teachers and professors. You need to move along and debate with your superiors, not your inferiors and not your equals. Prove your mettle. Go debate with a college professor by the name of Dan Eisenberg from the University of Washington. Leave me out of it. If Dan has a problem with me or with what I say in relation to telomere science, I have already emailed him one time this summer, and if he wants to get a hold of me, he can, because he has my email address. And if he had a problem with me, he would email me. And if I'm on YouTube getting the attention of famous people like yesterday, then first of all, calling me buddy when I'm older than you and a male makes you seem very moronic and disrespectful. Saying buddy to an older person is in itself disrespectful, as is saying sir when I'm not a teacher. It makes you seem like you're a Hitler Youth. We don't need that. If you've ever watched the television show Friends, there were women often called their male friends honey, and on Friends, male friends often called their women friends honey and sweetie and baby, that were platonic friends, because that's how I view friendship, and that is how it really is in the real world. Chicks who call me dude and buddy, a lot of dudes will immediately cease the friendship with that person because their misandry is not welcome. And a lot of times it's based in age phobia. I'm not saying become a misogynist and talk about like how women suck, but do not be a misandrist to me. You will get blocked easily by showing me any hostility. The debate is not with me. Go take it up with professionals, go take it up with teachers, go take it up with somebody who wants to hear it. This is supposed to be a safe space to discuss ideas. And if you're somebody that wants to hate me or question what I think about things, you need to go to the sources, not me. I am not a professional. And if you have a problem with me, that is your own problem. Dislike my posts all you want. It only proves my point that either you are a sexist male and you just can't abide by the fact that what I'm saying about you is correct, or you're a misandrist and you hate men, or you are somebody that worships money. But if you're not liking my statuses, you're not really my friend yet. If you like my statuses, then you start to become my friend. That's what everybody on Facebook wants, is likes. If you dislike them, that does not mean that there is not tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of people out there trying to be legit and not rude. There are plenty of people that have called me king on Facebook, and you know this, so just stop with the trolling. You know I'm going to get rid of your comments. If I offend you, maybe it's your problem. I just do not like violence, and I do not like hostility, and I do not like bad blood between my friends and neighbors. Hatred has no place in this conversation, and since you are not mature enough to stop with the hate as you have this conversation with me, then you are not mature enough to even date me or to be my friend. I disregard you on the spot because I've been on this planet for 39 years, and I know enough from conversations with my parents that I have concurrently that they like me as a person. And I am not a believer, but it feels that what they are saying is true. I'm more of a test hypothesis experiment. They have proven to me that they care about me. Sometimes their caring is a bit overbearing because they think that I'm basically an idiot or careless, which is their personal problem. It's all gaslighting and I don't really need it. If you tell me to get therapy, do it yourself. I get offline plenty. I get offline every day for at least 2 to 3 hours a day. I question what you expect me to do with my life if I'm getting offline and going for walks for 2 hours a day. What you expect me to do with my life when I don't own a TV and don't want to own a TV. Sit there and read books and to separate from society? That isn't going to happen, sister. You need to learn that I am a man and a human being, and I want what I want and I need what I need, and I will find it somehow. If you're just going to be rude to me, do not talk to me until you stop being rude. You trying to manage me is not fair to me. I have said things that have been misconstrued as actual legitimate things when they were meant to be jokes that people have taken too seriously. So I'm not going to say those things anymore because people get concerned about things. There are plenty of comics that use fallacy as sort of a way to point out the opposite of what they truly think about the world. But if you can't understand that I'm saying things jokingly, then you are a person that is not very bright to me. And that's, again, your own personal problem. But I'm not going to say those things because clearly I'm dealing with an unintelligent audience here. Either like my statuses or shut up. Because if you dislike my statuses, I'm just going to wait for you to say something rude and then I'm going to block you. And I'm going to delete your comment. I'm not here for this shit. I'm not here to argue like a bunch of children. I can go on many of my popular friends on Facebook that are like older men talking about religion or whatever, and they just block off the people that talk shit. Because you don't understand the humor or you don't understand the context of what is being said. It has nothing to do with me, that's all you. That's just called a you problem, that is your problem. The only thing that I have found that lightens up some women in the college setting, whether I activate upon that path, is to talk about telomeres. And if you're somebody that labels me in any sort of negative way, I view that as your personal problem. It's not like I'm going out there acting rude, trying to pick up on chicks. You know what I mean? If I see them and they look too young to me, I don't even care. I just walk on by. It's not necessary for me to talk to them. If it was, I would be talking about how I got slapped in the face, and you would hear it, and you would see the black eyes and the blood and the bruises. Or you're a person that thinks that I am a person who does not have an impact upon the society in which I live, while at the same time you throw me up as a demon, while you know damn well that there's plenty of people that throw me up as a god. You saying otherwise does not mean anything. People just don't want to hear me talk about anything other than telomeres on Facebook, and I... Interesting. A little cold out there. Interesting how two generation of women, Generation Z, who are between 4 and 24, and millennials, and we all know about them, are largely, and the majority-wise, people who espouse views that are anti-capitalism. No, don't get me wrong. I adore women. Women need to have more leadership positions and to have more of a voice. Gosh, it's cold out there. But it's interesting how these two generations, Generation Z and millennials, are largely women and men, but we're talking about women here. Women who espouse anti-capitalist views. And yet, the largest majority of these women only date men who have credit cards. Never mind the fact what I could tell you about Generation X males in 2019. That will be a biological truth in conveyance of healthier DNA for your children. Good luck finding any that are single besides me, but I'm not perfect. A biological truth about the health of your children. If you were to have children with men my age, yes, I am indeed single and heterosexual. Big up to the LGBTQ community. I don't need to march in a straight pride parade or watch football or hate women to be straight. Maybe you should do the same, guys. Spokane world. Notice how the people you love may speak like the people on this website, and realize that these people that you love, that tell you to get therapy or to calm down when you're angry and stuff like that, when it just riles you up and makes you madder when they tell you to calm down. Notice the people that you think that you love write like and talk like and act like the people on this website, and realize that these people that do this to you in your life may be people like the people on this website, and they might not be the nice people and the reasonable people that you want them to be. And that website is kiwifarms.net. If you're a reasonable person and you care about yourselves, cut people like this out of your life. kiwifarms.net is known by many people as a group of terrorists, just like the people on 8chan who inspired racist mass violence. But on this website, the same server is called Cloudflare, that took down 8chan for racism, is supporting a website that supports ableism. Doesn't that seem a little frightening to you? One website inspires bigotry against people who are non-white, and another inspires bigotry against people who are mentally ill and trying to cope, and differently abled folks. Now, the racist website was taken down because of the mass shootings, largely carried out by Trump supporters who espoused beliefs that were racist. But Kiwi Farms is alright because they inspire hate against people who are differently abled. Maybe you should check out and realize some of the people in your life aren't the good people you think they are. And if they talk like and act like and behave like the people on kiwifarms.net, maybe all the downvotes are coming from them. And it's their problem. Not yours. Not mine. It cracks me up how there's all these sexual Puritans on the left wing these days. Like, they'll rattle on and rail you for, like, your sexual thing. that might be a little different. Like maybe there's sexual Puritans against you wanting to date women 20 years younger than you, or younger men, or black people when you're white, or something, or it's never like, on the left it's never like fuck the gay people. It's more like fuck older men, they're all a bunch of creeps, or fuck age gappers because it's black appropriation even to have a sexual fantasy about somebody that's African American or white if you got the opposite color skin. So like they're on the left, there's all these like SJW types. And people have called me an SJW, but I don't know, because like SJWs tend to be like huge ass hypocrites. Like if they're against, like militantly against homophobia, I'm really for that. But you see like these white lesbian SJWs all the time that will like drop the N-word when they've never dated a black person because the black person would like say, don't say that, that's racist. Even the soft core N-word is racist. But with a lot of like SJWs, they'll post like on and on about like one thing, like homophobia or racism, but they won't check their own narcissistic behavior or admit their own faults. You know what I mean? It's completely possible to be against all forms of bigot language and all forms of bigot behavior and to admit that you probably have your own faults and that you should correct your faults. I will freely admit my faults, you know? But you see people that are narcissistic leveling ad hominem attack after ad hominem attack until you admit your faults, but they don't admit their own faults. So there's like all these sexual Puritans on the left that got their pet peeve when it comes to sex. Pet peeves of stuff that isn't even illegal. Pet peeves. That it's just gross behavior to them. But they don't check their own behavior. There's a lot of people that just like are totally against, like, say a 50-year-old man dating a 18-year-old young woman just cause that irritates them. But then they'll go out and have a lot of unprotected gay sex, or they'll date black people or whatever. Or they'll be like millennials who date Zoomers, but they're against Generation X dating Zoomers. And they won't check their own shit. And it's hilarious to me how stupid, and I want to say stupid because ignorant means you don't know. Stupid means you know and just, you know, whatever to it. So that's goofy to me, how like SJWs are often the biggest hypocrites you will ever meet in your life. And it's usually only really in the United States, too. And they sound like Amish people if you realize that they're out there having tons and tons of sex while lambasting you for your sexual pleasures. Or they're not having sex at all, and they're atheist and proud, but they just don't have sex because sex is icky to them. So everybody that has sex is wrong, and they sound like they're Amish, even though they're not Christians. And they're anti-theist, like I am. So, I don't know. To me, that seems like telomere attrition. That just seems like ignorance or stupidity. It's got to do with something with the cerebellum, where you just like see evidence and ignore it, even though you'll accept evidence of other things. You cherry pickers. Atheists do it too. Like atheists, like me, will demand evidence for every claim made, unless that claim will incriminate or dox somebody. That I understand why you would withhold evidence on stuff like that. But there are a lot of atheists out there that will just fill you full of false hope. Or have a hypocritical attitude towards things. And you could totally work on all of that at once. I love how if you go to Denmark and you're disabled, the government itself will pay prostitutes to have sex with you. Just Google that. I'm not gonna be like the nerd that shows like the facts and figures. That's not what I do. I like to keep things lo-fi and minimalistic. Just Google that. Because like if you're in a wheelchair or something, the government will say, well, you need some sexual healing. So we're going to pay you hookers to have sex with you because it's legal, or, you know, kind of looked away upon around like Amsterdam and Denmark and stuff like that. Spain, I think, might also have legal prostitution. I don't know if they have government-sponsored prostitution in Thailand or Spain, but they certainly do in Denmark. You could Google that quite easily. Take you 2 seconds. So, that's my view on SJWs and sexual Puritans. Like, there's elements of I'm definitely a leftist, and there's elements of things that I do like about the left camps. SJWs, I do like that they're standing up against bigotry, but they always seem to have like their pet peeve. Sexual Puritans, if they're hypocrites, no, they just shut up. Antifa, fine, I understand their battle sort of attitude, but the whole violent way of handling things is not right. You could easily just go up to a Republican and say, look, old man, you're a Republican, I'm a Democrat. Let's play a board game and not talk about politics. They're not out there to make friends, and Antifa are really stupid when it comes to that. Or they're just dumb, ignorant-wise. They just don't realize, well, I don't want to associate with a Republican. See, that's your problem. You have to make things all about politics all the time. That's not what leftism ought to be about. I mean, if you just go out and buy like a game like Glenmore, or Castles in Burgundy, or Tapestry, or ASL, or Sekigahara, or even a chess set, or a checkers set, or my game Cafeteria Uprising, or Tikal, or Alhambra, or The Colonists, or Feast for Odin, and get into the board game culture of non-violence, and just say, look, Republican, we're different, but let's sidestep that and hang out sometime. Make friends with people, you know? Say, look, you're different from me, let's go, I'll go buy you lunch at Denny's. Why they don't do that just means that they're stupid. It cracks me up how a bunch of idiots will call me an incel. When there's another term for what I am, that would be a bachelor. Just because I haven't had a date in 8 years means that I espouse the two qualities that you would really need to be an incel. The first one would be misogyny, and I have spoken up against misogyny in several of my videos. And also violence, and I've spoken up against violence in several of my videos. You'll sit there and rail me and tell me my faults, and I'll admit those faults. But you won't say anything bad about yourselves, and you hide in anonymity. That's why I had to block the comments, because everything you say to me is rude. You never admit your own faults, and you only gaslight me. You, my friends, are idiots. You're narcissists, and you're gaslighting. It doesn't matter if there's 50 downvotes on my posts and there's only 1 like. Because that means that 50 people in this world don't like me. Wow, 50 people in this world don't like me and a bunch of people just aren't voting. That's not on me, that's on you. You're the problem. You're my Satan, if you will. All or nothing thinking. These are statements that ignorant people make, or at least stupid people, because ignorant is when you don't know. You might not know what cognitive bias is. Stupid is when you know and just choose not to change based on evidence. Stuff like, no one wants to see you with the shirt off, Lucas. Yeah, there are 8 billion people on this planet almost. Prove it. Yeah, my wall's pretty dirty. But it was like that when I moved in. I'm not a capitalist, so it doesn't really bother me. I kind of like the grittiness. The very fact that there's people that don't like me doing recordings with the shirt off is why I'm doing recordings with the shirt off. They remind me of my brother, like, put his shirt on! You're a guy. What does it offend you so much? You get a little chub or something? A little chub down there? Yeah, you're a homophobe. Go away. Any chick that would, like, blast me for being chubby or whatever would not be my chick anyway. Any kind of, like, hater, like, call me a creeper or anything, like, even hoser or dork would not be my type of chick anyway. So I don't really care about their opinions. The downvotters are not the people that I would ever hang out with. So, like, you might be questioning, well, if they know all this stuff about middle-aged men conferring longer telomeres, the college scene, the government knows, why isn't this made mainstream? Well, you know how corporations are. It's like they'll discover something and they'll be like, you know, we can't just release this all the way. There'll be no money in it. So they can't just like automatically say like older dudes should be with younger women all the time and that's the best way to make the healthiest kids. They can't say that because they would lose money. It would be like curing cancer right away when there's plenty of evidence that there's cures for cancers out there. Or making marijuana legal. They took them like 87 years to make it legal, right? Like it was illegal for 87 years, and then in 2015, Washington and Colorado went full legal for pot. They had the evidence, and it was building and building. They can't just do stuff like that right away. You know, we're not trying to. This age gap relationship thing is not like we're trying to break the law. You know what I mean? It's like 18 with 40-year-olds. Yeah, I know. You think, well, that's not too controversial. Well, it is if you straight up say that that combination will create the healthiest kids. So what you're saying is like dudes under 40 should not have children. That is indeed a very controversial statement. Or that women over 24 should not have children. And you combine those two, that is a very controversial statement. I don't know what people think when they say that that is not a controversial statement. That is highly revolutionary. What are you smoking, meth? Crazy ass. That's a very revolutionary idea. Wow. Like, but why do they still do it, you know? Well, think of like teenagers and 20-somethings. They got like this huge disposable income. If they market like age proximus relationships for a little while and kind of ease into the age gap thing, they're going to make a lot of money at it because they're going to really pump that teenage 20-something market because mommy and daddy hooked them up with a credit card. Or the fact that like young people always need to buy shit because they're out on their own for the first time. This is like the first decade of them being adults on their own. So they have to go buy shit for their new apartment or whatever when they first start working and saving money. Their first house will come in like their 20s or 30s, a lot of them. The whole concert scene of like Coachella and Lollapalooza is like a teen 20-something market. So if they just like juice this for a while and then ease into some way to like hem the males my age to like young chicks that are like freshmen in college to like a couple years after graduation for maybe a decade or two, they can do it slowly and make money. That's why they do that. That's not too hard to fathom, like the teenage entitlement culture that makes so much damn money. You know, they always ask like, well, what are you entitled to? Those are rhetorical questions. You can pay me to answer them. Just watch my videos on YouTube. If you got to be like a kind of a rude person and be like, what are you entitled to? I'm entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, just like everybody else. Declaration of Independence. So, I mean, that's my conjecture, or speculation, or idea. I don't want to say theory, because theory and hypothesis is
They're not what they are. Conjecture is my idea, my thought that why older men are not just like instantly pushed out there as the hot daddy. Like, why is there all this slang daddy, like, for their boyfriends? You think kids just make up slang? No, they don't. They get it from television, and they get it from YouTube, and they get it from rap songs and rock songs. That's all corporate. I don't know, a lot of chicks like dudes with, like, dad bods. Read the Men's Health article. It's not my problem. It's not illegal. So, screw you. Kiwi Farms. Yeah, a friend of mine sent me some photographic evidence of you outside my apartment stalking me. Took a picture of me while in a car. As two black guys were passing. Don't know why. It's really curious. A little frightening. So I sent your website and that picture to the Spokane Police Department. Because stalking people offline is illegal. I'm sure I could win in a court case. I'm sure if I could get a lawyer, one would be appointed for me, or my parents would get me one. It doesn't matter if you take the picture down off the internet. I downloaded it. Expect to be contacted by the police. How's my hair? Pretty shitty, right? I should put a shirt on. Well, maybe you should start going to the gay bars and stop getting a chub from a dude with his shirt off. There's nothing wrong with being gay. There's nothing wrong with being straight. Maybe marching in a parade to declare that you're proud to be straight is a little wrong, though. That's a little cringy. To me, that's creepy. And, you know, if you Christians or, you know, whatever, you leftist mall rats that hate capitalism, as you're shopping at the mall, only dating dudes with credit cards, or, you know, whatever you dumb hypocrite assholes do that provoke me to anger. Ooh, I'm so mad. Play a board game with me. I'm just gonna shoot you. Actually, no. Non-violence is the way. I'm gonna shoot you to a board game. Some people can't take a joke. Because I'm Jesus Christ. It's okay, I got some garlic. That was a joke. Anyway, if I'm a creep, or a creeper, or whatever you little high school mentality people call me, it's Halloween. Creeper be deeper. Happy Halloween. Age phobes. On a final note for now, narcissists will tell you that a friendship is where you're insulting each other constantly. Yeah, if you're a narcissist. They will say you will never know true friendship unless you insult each other constantly. This is why I embrace nonviolence, because you push me to this point. I know that the trolls who are trolling me are not liberal or left-wing, because if you look at things with Jeffrey Epstein and the pedophile allegations of Bill Clinton that we on the left know is true. Clinton had illegal dealings with children. And the left wing has sort of just stopped talking about Bill Clinton, which of course is wrong because Bill Clinton is guilty of sin of having sex with underage children. And we all know this. It's just that there are bigger fish to fry. We're not trying to impeach Clinton again. We're trying to impeach Trump. We do know that Clinton should probably be in prison because we know that he broke the law and is a pedophile. We know this for a fact. It's just that we are not focusing on this because we want to focus on Trump. Personally, I do think that they should focus on Bill Clinton because he's scum. But liberals and leftists do not spend their time demonizing their own, like conservatives will spend their time demonizing their own. And people knowing that I'm liberal and left-wing and have not broken any laws in 8 years. And the law that I broke was the domestic violence charge at the restaurant where I threw the glass and stormed off of my girlfriend. That keeps getting brought up. Liberals and leftists do not do things where they bring up the past. My parents would still be bringing that up if that's how liberals acted. Okay, they are very progressive. My stepdad likes Bernie Sanders. My mom likes Kamala Harris. They're progressive enough for baby boomers. They would not be there in support of me, constantly telling me that they love me, which is like more now than ever because they see how hurt I am by some of the dealings. And they know I'm not there like blaming women for my problems. They see that I'm blaming men and myself for my problems. And they see it as me beating myself, having to deal with the trolls, just beating myself on the ground. They see me as punishing myself, and they're telling me to go offline more often. But there's no real reason to do so. I go offline like for 2 hours a day and go for a walk in the middle of the day or the middle of the night. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with the rest of my time. If I'm supposed to, I don't own any books. I own like one book that doesn't really seem really that interesting to me. And it's not the Bible. It's just some book I found somewhere. So my parents don't really understand that there is nothing for me to do other than be online. I get offline for like I said, maybe even 4 hours a day sometimes to just kind of like sit there and, have a snack or walk around because there's nothing to do at home. I don't own a television and I don't own any books, and I don't really want to play board games with people, especially when they're hostile towards me. And I don't really want to be around people that are hostile and violent. My parents love all that about me, and they constantly tell me that about me, that they realize that people are aggravating me and they just want me to find peace. But there is no peace, and peace will not come because there's nothing to do with my time. If I were to sign up for school again, yeah, there would be something to do with my time, but I'm trying to take a year off to sort of observe and to address some problems. And I think that people giving me the downvotes on my page and my videos shows that they are not liberal or left-wing, because progressives tend to even forgive their own. Much more than Republicans will forgive their own. There are plenty of Republicans out there that are still bashing Trump over shit. And the liberals and the progressives and whatnot aren't constantly berating Bill Clinton for being a pedophile, or berating Nancy Pelosi for the Green New Deal. They're trying to find logical ways around this instead of like bringing it out and airing the stuff out in public, because liberals tend to approach things scientifically. Shut up, EP. I take a shower every day. You're just a conservative read. I'm not going to use that term. You're not going to push me to use ableism. See, my parents and a lot of progressives that I talk to like that I'm trying to attack bigotry and check my behavior by not using ableist terms. Maybe Chris Hansen needs to look at that. You shut up, you capitalist pig. I'm not here to listen to you dogs. My parents have forgiven me and are concerned about my safety because the trolling that goes on the internet, and they're left wing and I'm left wing. You know how liberals are. We're kind of the forgive and forget type. There are things that piss me off about people that I have let go of and forgotten because they're not all that important. You bring up things once or twice and it gets dealt with.
Liberals don't spend their time demonizing other liberals, especially when there are things that are bigger than my issues, because my issues were not issues of legality. There were issues of differences of opinion, and liberals don't tend to hold people account over things that are not based in fact. Conservatives do. So the people trolling my posts are the right wing. You are the alt-right, you are the trolls of the right wing, you are the Republicans and conservatives. Saying that pretty much everybody on the left hates you too, to me, just sounds like a blanket all or nothing thinking statement, and liberals are not really cognitive bias types. You shit stains are not the left wing. I know this for a fact. 100 downvotes is still just going to prove that you're the right wing, and you have decided to focus on me and demonize me because you're pissed off about me demonizing the things that you like being misogynist and like being hateful. You spinning around saying that I'm hateful, it's just me hating your hate. Perhaps you should read some Karl Popper on a tolerant society and stuff like that, and how we can't tolerate intolerance. If they're not upvoting me or giving me the thumbs up reaction, it's because they don't know about me. And the right wing tends to kind of cluster around their enemies. When I go to Montesano, where I grew up, and there's people there from school that I've met that are right wing, they will instantly bring up things that I did like months ago and kind of laugh about it. Not in a mean way, like when liberals are pissed off, we get like really in your face. When conservatives are kind of like pissed off, they just sort of like question things and sort of like, whisper it. But they don't really get pissed off in public like liberals do when they're pissed off. Liberals tend to let things go. Republicans and conservatives hang on to the most minor of shit just to piss people off. I know that because I'm left wing, and my parents are left wing, and my family is left wing. And just because my cousins and uncles and aunts aren't liking my statuses doesn't mean they don't see them. The things that have to do with politics, and it doesn't even mean that they disagree with them, because when I see them after long periods of like whatever, they're very nice to me, even if they haven't liked my statuses. My mom will like say how much she loves me every time we talk, but she won't like my statuses on Instagram. Liberals are kind of like that. We do tend to be a bit hypocritical because we don't really want to get stuck online, and we want to go live life. She likes my brother's statuses on Instagram more than mine because I post all the time. My brother posts like once every couple of months. If my brother was posting all the time, she would be kind of in a headspin, and she would be trying to like get away from it and find peace because all the information would overwhelm her. Liberals will look at information and just sort of like, I got to wait and think about this, because if I don't, I'm not going to appear intelligent. Appearing intelligent and compassion is very important to being a liberal. That is not a true Scotsman. That is what defines a person as a left-wing person. Somebody that moves on and has hope and thinks is a liberal. People saying things like, oh, the left wing pretty much hates him too, is a blanket statement, which reminds me of somebody that would support Trump and pretend to be left wing. Everybody I know in real life is pretty much a liberal. Saying that statement will piss you off because you're a conservative. Conservatives work in the vein of fear. You fear me because you do not understand things like nonviolence. You choose not to understand things. That I never broke any laws. And you will walk around, if there's so many people like stalking me that know who I am in Spokane, they see me walk past girls all the time. They just don't choose to fight. Liberals tend to be pansies about things. If they see like people doing good, they just let them be and do good. But when they're doing bad, they put it on blast. And most of the people that put things on blast with me are the right wing, because they fear things like hippies and people trying to confront bigotry. But liberals do like that. I could go like days and days and days of like watching videos that I like on like synthwave music and stuff, and not like upvote them or anything like that, even though I love that kind of music. my side of the politics do not spend our time like heart reacting everything, quite like people who have a more conservative bent about things. They either heart react or they don't react. It's a difference in how we view political discussions. Liberals will just kind of like look at stuff and like it, but not notify that they like it. They'll just sort of smile about shit, you know, but they won't really have a reaction because we're not what's known as a reactionary side of the political spectrum. If liberals were like conservatives, we'd be going around putting anarchist stickers on everything or heart stickers on everything. Thank goodness liberals are not like conservatives, and we just tend to let things go. Even in the case of Nancy Pelosi, pretty much saying, fuck the environment, money is more important than saving the environment. There are a select few within the Bernie camp that are trying to confront Nancy Pelosi about this, but you'll notice most liberals and leftists kind of just let things go and let their leaders take control. Conservatives tend to really get involved. When there's a apathy in voting, it's always the left wing. Conservatives always vote because they think that that's important. There are plenty on the left wing that just don't vote because they think, well, it doesn't really matter. Not all liberals are Democrats sort of thinking, but all conservatives will vote Republican. That is why there is not the thumbs up reacts on my post, because you conservatives are freaked out over somebody trying to profess peace. If liberals were like conservatives, Bill Clinton would be in prison by now.
Easy enough. Haters and concerned trolls. If you comment on my posts with your hate and concern trolling, I am going to delete the comment and I am going to block you, even if you're a guy or transgender. The people that spit the same catchphrases that everybody else spits while prefacing it like it's some new shit. Like, maybe you're not prepared for this, but catchphrase. That's the joy of reading KiwiFarms.net. You bootlickers are like going into a bar, sitting down for a drink, and the bartender just hands you something without letting you order because that's his favorite drink.
Honeys, your boyfriend is a little misogynist bootlicker and a religionist and a capitalist hypocrite, and I'm poor, a little bit older, Generation X, looking pretty good. Just, it's shower of the day. But he's there. You're all there just running your mouths. Only when you're nice to me will I allow you to stay. Any criticism of me whatsoever, you're going to get blocked.
Bye. See you later. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Piss off. Bye-bye. Toodles. You need to embrace nonviolence. Girl. Before you get with me. You will never be criticized by anyone doing more than you. You will only be criticized by people who are doing less. I want you to remember one thing. You're considered crazy to anyone who cannot manipulate you.